The story opens with a prisoner named Jack who has just served a 10-year sentence behind bars for killing a young man a decade ago. Now that his time is up, we see him riding a train back toward his hometown, completely changed and determined to blend in as a regular citizen. To keep his life on track, he carries a small notebook filled with strict personal rules: never drink alcohol, never get into fights, and under no circumstances cry. Right there on the train, Jack eats a meal and immediately crosses it off his list, marking his first small victory. Upon reaching his hometown, his very first stop is his adoptive mother's restaurant. She isn't there, but his adoptive sister is working behind the counter. Jack has no biological family left. 10 years prior, the restaurant owner had taken him in and raised him as her own child. However, his adoptive sister holds a deep grudge against him, bluntly telling him that their mother isn't around and ordering him to leave and come back later in the evening. Denied a place to rest, Jack heads to a public bathhouse to clean up. Having spent the last decade in prison, he struggles to navigate the modern digital lock system, prompting the bathhouse attendant to lose his patience and start talking down to him. But the moment Jack strips off his shirt, revealing a body completely covered in intimidating gang tattoos, the attendant's tough attitude instantly vanishes in pure terror, realizing those marks belong to a high-ranking, legendary gangster. Meanwhile, out on the street, a group of thugs is brutally beating a young guy in blatant daylight. Disturbingly, police officers standing nearby make zero effort to intervene, passively watching the violence unfold from a distance, because these goons work for Kazama, the most feared crime boss in the city, whom even the authorities dare not cross. Nearby, a local gangster named Chulbul is busy lining up and harassing a group of innocent youths. Just then, Jack quietly arrives. On the surface, Jack's modest outfit and calm demeanor make him look utterly harmless, like someone who couldn't scare a child. Yet the instant Chulbul locks eyes with him, he completely freezes in shock. Chulbul knows Jack's past all too well and understands just how lethal he really is. Watching a seasoned thug like Chulbul bow down and display such extreme respect toward Jack makes one thing crystal clear. Back in his prime, Jack was no low-level street enforcer. He was a terrifying force to be reckoned with. The story continues with Jack visiting another gangster named Shinchi, who used to be his close friend. It turns out both Shinchi and Chulbul once worked directly under Jack when he ruled the streets. Although Shinchi offers his help, Jack makes it clear that he only wants a normal life and leaves. However, Shinchi is rattled by Jack's release, fearing he might take back control, so he places Jack under surveillance to see if the legendary Don has truly changed. That evening, Jack returns to his adoptive mother's restaurant. She tearfully embraces him with open arms, overjoyed to see him, and lovingly feeds him at the dinner table. Her genuine affection deeply bothers Jack's adoptive sister, who bluntly reminds him that while their mother treats him like a son, she is the actual biological daughter, meaning he must follow her household rules. She immediately dumps all the household chores onto him, and Jack quietly accepts every condition. Before sleeping, Jack looks at his notebook once more, reaffirming his vow never to drink, fight, or cry. Meanwhile, the city's newly elected mayor, Kazama, presents himself to the public as a clean politician, but the moment he enters his car, he disgustedly wipes his hands with wet wipes, revealing his deep contempt for ordinary citizens. Kazama is actually the supreme crime boss, controlling both Shinchi and Chulbul. The next day, Jack visits a doctor to get his gang tattoos removed, but the doctor warns him that laser removal for such extensive work would be extremely expensive, painful, and leave permanent scars, ultimately advising him against it. Following the doctor's advice, Jack decides to keep the tattoos as they are. Soon after, Jack's adoptive mother meets with Mayor Kazama at his office. Kazama plans to demolish the local district to build a massive shopping mall, and while every other shop owner sold their land, Jack's mother firmly refuses to sell her restaurant at any price. Kazama grows furious because her restaurant sits right in the center of the development plot, completely stalling the project. That night, while Jack is smoking a cigarette on the rooftop, his adoptive sister approaches him. He instantly hides it, but she tells him to keep smoking, only to complain seconds later about how much she hates the smell. Hearing this, Jack immediately throws the cigarette away and crosses smoking off his notebook list forever. The next morning, Jack gets an honest job at a local auto repair shop to earn a legit living. While working, two police officers notice Jack, and one tells the other about Jack's terrifying history. He explained that years ago, Shinchi and Chulbul were mere henchmen walking in Jack's shadow. Jack was an unbeatable, feared fighter with just one fatal flaw. Alcohol made him unnaturally violent. One night, a heavily intoxicated Jack was ambushed by 6 hitmen sent by Kazama, but Jack brutally wiped them all out by himself, while Shinchi and Chulbul cowardly watched from afar. During that exact brawl, Jack accidentally killed a young man, earning him 10 years in prison. The moment Jack was locked up, Shinchi and Chulbul seized his turf, and Mayor Kazama, the mastermind behind the original hit, eventually brought both of them under his own command, since neither had the guts to challenge him. Meanwhile, Jack's adoptive sister struggles in her math class, overwhelmed by the subject, and asks her teacher if learning math is truly necessary. After class, Jack arrives at the school to pick up his sister, instantly catching the teacher's attention. It turns out she is Jack's former lover from before his imprisonment. Recognizing him immediately after 10 years, she sits with him at a park where they reminisce about their past, with Jack expressing genuine happiness over her becoming a teacher. She reveals that she tried visiting him in prison, but Jack had refused to see her, wanting her to move on and build a better life rather than waste her time waiting for him. The next day, as Jack walks his sister home from school, they stop by a mobile phone shop where she admires a phone she cannot afford. Watching from nearby, an obsessed stalker who has a crush on her misinterprets their relationship, assuming Jack is her boyfriend. Outraged after seeing them together frequently, the guy kicks Jack to the ground while they're having a snack. He beats Jack himself and, once exhausted, orders his friends to continue the assault. Bound by his solemn oath never to fight again, Jack absorbs every blow without hitting back. However, during the beatdown, Jack's shirt tears open, exposing his terrifying body-wide gang tattoos. The moment the thugs spot the deadly tattoos, they freeze in sheer panic, and the obsessed lover realizes he just picked a fight with a dangerous monster. Ignoring them completely, Jack silently gathers his sister and walks home. Once back, his sister tenderly cleans his wounds and applies bandages, her heart overflowing with remorse and affection. The bond shifts completely, turning her former resentment into deep love and respect for her adoptive brother. Meanwhile, Mayor Kazama summons Shinchi and Chulbul, furious that Jack's mother refuses to sell her property. He promises to promote whoever clears out the restaurant as the next leader of the entire syndicate. Eager to take power, Chulbul takes the job and storms the restaurant with his crew, smashing everything in sight, while Jack quietly eats in a corner. The moment Chulbul spots Jack, he frantically commands his men to stop, realizing too late that this is Jack's mother's place. Jack grabs Chulbul by the neck and strictly warns him never to return, sending the terrified gang fleeing. The next day, Mayor Kazama passes by and notices the restaurant still standing, prompting his personal driver to inform him that Jack is out of prison and protecting his adoptive mother's business, news that leaves the mayor deeply unnerved.